Hi everyone, and welcome to a special masterclass with a man who needs no introduction, the one and only Robin Sharma. Robin is one of the greatest personal growth authors of our generation. His books have inspired tens of millions of people, and he's a personal coach to many of the world's top performers, from Olympians to billionaires to executives at multiple companies around the world, and that's because his ideas work. What makes Robin so special is that he doesn't just help you perform better at work. He helps you perform better at life. He's about expanding not just your mindset, but your heart set. He's about getting you to work not just more productively, but to work with more passion and heart, and so you influence everybody else around you. The stuff that Robin teaches are things that I wish I had learned 20 years ago when I was just graduating from university, because it would have made such a profound impact on my life. The ideas that you're going to learn today are going to help you do more in less time. They're going to help you wake up every day happier and healthier. They're going to help you move towards living a life of meaning and passion. Now, Robin says this: the big problem with many people today is that they live their days on default. But he says whether you are a street cleaner or CEO, you should be planning your day. You should be having intentions for how you start and begin your day. And when you do this, you are living life not on default, but you're living life like a warrior. When you apply these tools to your day, when you start living like a warrior, you no longer live on default. You stop being a victim of circumstance. Rather, your days, and thus your weeks and your months and your years, end up becoming so much more productive, exciting, and you're on a way to perpetual personal growth. You become the greatest version of yourself. And as you start applying this, you find that it doesn't take away from your already busy lives. Rather, you create so much more productivity in you that you're able to do more in less time. Robin's clients say that through these practices, they are able to get out there, conquer the world, and attain their wildest dreams in far less time than they ever thought possible. And this is because of what these practices do to your own performance, your level of thought, and how you function in the world. Finally, you'll notice that through the ideas you're going to learn in this masterclass, you will achieve a balance mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Now, I've known Robin as a friend for almost 7 years, but I never realized how massive his reach had become until sometime last year when I was traveling to India, and I was at the airport in Delhi, and I was browsing through a bookstore, as I often do before boarding a plane, and I saw this big sign on the wall in this bookstore in Delhi, and it was a quote from, I believe, the Times of India, and it said, "Robin Sharma is as significant in India as the Dalai Lama." And below that poster was a whole list of Robin's books. This is how much of an impact this man is having on people and cultures all around the world because of his productivity strategies and his wisdom in turning us into the best version of ourselves. A couple of pointers about Robin. He is ranked one of the top 5 leadership speakers in the world. His books have sold 6 million copies. His runaway bestseller, The Leader Who Had No Title, was the #1 business book on Amazon. He has coached executives at Starbucks, GE, Nike, Coca-Cola, IBM, FedEx, Microsoft, Ritz-Carlton, Panasonic, Yale University, and more. He helps people realize how they can do brilliant work, thrive amid change, and realize their highest leadership levels so that personal responsibility, productivity, ingenuity, and mastery soar. And as a presenter, as you're about to see, he is absolutely electrifying. So in this class, you're going to learn 5 special ideas that if you start applying in your life starting tomorrow, these things will make a profound impact on how you function in the world. These ideas are like the tip of an iceberg. They sound simple, but they are so rich, so deep, and they are so powerful in terms of the shifts and the impact they will make on your life. Do not underestimate them because they are simple to enact. These ideas are scientifically proven to move you months, years ahead in terms of your personal evolution. So have a notebook handy. Get ready to listen, to pay attention, to take down notes, because the ideas here are transformative. Before we begin, I want to read to you a few quick stories of what these ideas have done for various people who have studied them. One of the greatest things about Robin Sharma is just how massive his reach is. Consider this, Kevin Robbins, who's the worldwide CEO of Saatchi & Saatchi, said, "From monks selling Ferraris to leaders with no titles, Robin Sharma zigs while others zag. So buckle up and enjoy the ride." And Paulo Coelho, who's one of the greatest living authors of all time, said, "Sharma's books are helping people all around the world live great life." And Publishers Weekly said, "Though Sharma rejects the guru label, it's not hard to think of this CEO that way." And the best part is his work is now being used in companies all around the world. Bill Norman, the VP of Worldwide Operations for Microsoft, said, "You have set a high standard and raised expectations for our series." Mark Tonneson, VP of the Royal Bank of Canada, said, "Robin made a difference in the lives of the people who attended our conference." And this is just, from his speaking engagements. So before we continue with Robin, it's incredible to think about how massive this man's reach and influence is in our world today. Consider these. And now, let's get started with Robin Sharma. So Robin, one of the things I love about you most is your incredible story. Would you share that with us?
Well, I'm really surprised how my life unfolded. I think life will take you in the most unexpected ways if your mind is open. I talk about mindset, I talk about heart set. And if you just open up to life, it leads you in the most elegant and the most mysterious and the most beautiful of places. I come from really, really humble beginnings. One of the things my dad has always taught me, he's a great hero in my life, but he talked about the importance of humility. And I come from such humble beginnings. My parents were immigrants to this country. In school, I really wasn't given much of a chance. I'm sure a lot of your viewers, they're dealing with doubt, they're dealing with ridicule, people don't understand their dreams, but they know there's a fire inside of them to live a bigger life, to live a more beautiful life, to have an impact on the world. And just like your viewers, I felt the same thing. But when I was in school, I was doubted, I was dismissed. People didn't think I would amount to very much. Some people didn't think I was very intelligent. Some people suggested I would always be resigned to mediocrity. And I just offer this with great love and respect for your viewers, but every visionary is ridiculed. And if people aren't laughing at your dreams, you're not dreaming big enough.
I love that line. If people aren't laughing at your dreams, you're not dreaming big enough.
Yeah, and all progress of humanity, whether it's the great art or the great things in society, the great businesses, the great heroes, all heroes were different from most people, and they were dismissed and they were laughed at until they were respected. So I'm simply saying I'm no different from anyone who might be watching. I just learned a series of mindsets, a series of heart sets, a series of rituals, a series of protocols that have transformed my life. And I'm very blessed to share they also have transformed the lives of the people I've been blessed to work with from around the world, whether these are CEOs or billionaires or professional athletes.
And at this point, millions of people who have read your books and been introduced to your work. But there was a point in your life, Robin, when you were practicing law and you realized you needed to shift. What happened there?
Well, what's the point of being successful, Vishen, if you're a success according to society, but you're a failure according to yourself? And there's a lot of people in the world right now, they're successful in the world, or they're chasing a definition of success that society has hypnotized them into believing is successful. And yet they're wondering why they wake up in the morning feeling completely empty, no fire in the belly, and sort of stagnating or coasting through life. So I was a lawyer. I was very successful. I got a law degree, and then I got a master's of law degree, and people said, you're a great litigator, and you're on your way to being a judge. The only problem was I'd wake up every morning, I'd look in the bathroom mirror, and I didn't like the person who was looking back at me. And so, I think real success is living life on your own terms. I think real success is waking up in the morning saying, I might be living life in a way that's different from society, but I'm living it on my terms. I'm living my values. I'm doing my dreams. I'm feeling the fire on my terms versus, oh, I've got the right watch and I've got the right handbag and I'm in a job I don't like, but it's paying the mortgage. That's the kiss of death. And a lot of people die at 20 and they are buried at 90. And so really what I'm doing my best for the rest of my life is to remind people that you were born into genius. and that you do have some original form of heroism inside of you. Whether you believe it or not, there is a hero inside of you. And the people who are watching us right now wouldn't be watching us right now if there was not some deeper instinct for greatness that is causing them to say, I need to watch these two people who are sharing some information that just might be the information I need to go from where I now am to the life I've always wanted to live.
You're absolutely right. And that information is needed. What you're saying reminds me of a Gallup study that showed that even in America, one of the wealthiest nations in the world, 54% of Americans say they dislike their jobs. And it's a crazy world if more than half the population are going to work in something that gives them no meaning. I love what you said about how many people die at 20 and get buried at 90. If you feel that you might be in that state, I want you to know that there is a way out. And it all has to do with rethinking our approach to life. Now, Robin, you talk about heart set mindset. You used that phrase earlier. Could you tell us more about that?
Well, sure. And before I get there, I just want to emphasize what you just said, which is, when we were little kids, we had dreams. When we were little kids, we had a sparkle in our eye, but I believe adults are nothing more than deteriorated children. And so for all of you, your viewers who want to feel happier, create exponential productivity, get more results, experience more prosperity, feel healthier, live longer, and have a huge impact in the world while you live a life that you adore, you can have that. But most people, from the time we're little kids, we are hypnotized. We're seduced by society. We get this messaging from our parents, from teachers, from the media, which is be average, don't think too big, don't laugh too loud, don't be comfortable in your skin, be like everyone else, fit into the box, don't be brave. Spend the best years of your life watching television in a subdivision and you'll be okay. And that's, I don't want to say breaks my heart because that's too strong, but I have worked with so many people who have learned the mindsets and the heart sets and the rituals and the routines that I have handcrafted and taught for 20 years. And these were so-called ordinary people. Some of them were entrepreneurs, some of them were taxi drivers, some of them are CEOs, some of them are yoga teachers. But they learned the insights and the rituals and the protocols and models that I have put together. And they made these transformations. And the point was simply this: society told them they were average and that geniuses and heroes and great performers and people who are living beautiful lives are cut from a different cloth. And I'm here to say with great love and respect, that's not true. And science is actually confirming genius is less about genetics and it's more about your habits. World-class performance is less about your natural talent. And it's more about your core beliefs, your daily routines, the people that you are around, and the environments that you are in.
That is a powerful statement. Genius is about your core routines, your habits. It's about the things you do as a disciplined approach on a daily basis. And that's where we're going to come to the essence of this class. You're going to learn some of these incredible habits that Robin, through his decades of work, has identified in the world's top performers.
So Vishen, you did ask me about mindset and heart set, and I wanted to make sure I answered that for you. So we're hearing a lot these days about mindset, and I think mindset is fundamentally important because your daily behavior reflects your deepest beliefs. So if you want to perform like a legendary performer, if you want to be the Picasso of your work, if you want to create a beautiful life, if you want to install the right habits of genius, if you want to get up earlier, if you want to have more energy, if you want more love in your life, you need to rewire your behaviors, but those come by changing your core beliefs. So mindset is really important, and I teach some very advanced ideas on that. But what's the point of having a strong mind without an open heart? If you look at a Mandela, or if you look at a Michelangelo, you go to the Vatican City and you look up at Michelangelo's ceiling on the Sistine Chapel. That wasn't just done with a strong creative mind. That was done with a person with a wide open heart. And so I think mindset is cool, and I think heart set is unbelievably important, because if you look at any great act in the world, whether it's building a great business, a great family, or a great life, it comes from passion, and that's from the heart. And people don't talk about that as much as I'd love to see people talking about that.
I learned that concept, heart set, from you. It's such a beautiful idea. It seems so obvious. It's such a shame we don't learn that in our schools. The importance of passion as a daily practice. And I know in a moment you're going to talk about habits and the 5 particular things that you believe that if we can put in our lives, we can regenerate our souls. We can live a life that's legendary. Do these 5 things also contribute to passion, to heart set?
Absolutely. You look at a Steve Jobs, you look at an Elon Musk, you look at a Mozart, you look at a Shakespeare, you look at a Messi, you look at a Lady Gaga, you look at a Martin Luther King Jr., look at a Mother Teresa. She said if we would only sweep our own doorstep, the whole world would be clean. She said we might not be able to do great things, but we can do small things with great love. You look at Martin Luther King Jr., who said, if you have not found a mission you can die for, you're not fit to live. That's all heart set. How do you build a great business? You get it intellectually and strategically. Okay, and I teach that, and we're going to get into that. But what about the piece about passion, fire in the belly, your heart wide open, not only to live a beautiful life, but to change the world?
What's wrong with the world? Why is this so out of grasp for so many of us?
Well, this is really the gap in teaching. This is really why people don't get traction when they get some learning. It's they get it intellectually, they don't get it in their tissues. They get it in their mind, they don't get it in their heart. But the secret of transformation in many ways is getting it at a core level. We've all read books, but we don't change because of the book. Why? It's because we didn't get it as a felt feeling in our heart. And that's why sometimes you go through a course and something touches you, not at an intellectual level, but at an emotional level, and you make the transformation. It's because you got it in the heart. It went from being an idea that you intellectually considered to a knowing in your core that changed the game for you.
And that's what's so powerful about what you're about to learn. You are not going to be just served up knowledge or an idea. You're going to learn how to actually, through a disciplined approach, disciplined but fun, bring this into your life so your life actually shifts, your life actually changes. You may think you were not born a genius, and therefore you have to settle back to a life that is ordinary. But what you're going to hear from Robin is that is fundamentally not true. They are set practices that you can bring into your life that can radically transform how you function at work, that can radically give you mindset and heart set, that can put passion into your life in remarkable doses. So Robin, let's get started with that first daily practice. And I believe you call it journaling.
Right, and journaling's been around for a long time, but the first practice is really all about 2 elements, which is gratitude and it's journaling. Let's go to the science. A lot of what I teach is actually science-based and backed up by some beautiful research. So if you look at some of the positive psychologists like Martin Seligman and Sonia Lyubomirsky, what they found is this: gratitude is the antidote to average. What they have found is if you can be grateful every day, the way you see the world begins to change. Your productivity increases, your happiness level increases, your energy level increases. And what happens is, it's not just regular once a year gratitude, it's actually what they call deliberate gratitude. You need to install a daily ritual or practice of celebrating your blessings every day. Because the brain actually has, and this might surprise your viewers, but the brain actually is hardwired for negativity. It's called a negativity bias. Served us really well thousands of years ago when we were tribal and out on the savannah. Because if we were not hyper vigilant or hyper aware of threats, we would die, we would starve, we'd be eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. Now it's here in the modern age, we've got a lot of these blessings. A lot of us have really good lives, or a lot of good things in our lives, and yet our brains still focus on the threat or what's not working in our lives. And that's a recipe for misery. And so this first ritual of installing the habit of daily deliberate gratitude, where you actually write in a journal, where you celebrate your blessings by, writing, here's what I'm grateful for, I have my health, or I have food on the table, or I had a beautiful cup of coffee. The psychologists call it savoring. You actually start to write down all the good things in your life. Here's what that does. It releases serotonin, the pleasure neurotransmitter. It releases dopamine, the inspirational neurotransmitter. It starts to create a pharmacy of mastery in your brain where you actually rewire your brain to notice all the beautiful things in your life. Now, if you start feeling life is magical because you've retrained your brain and you've created a pharmacy of mastery where you actually have these chemicals making you feel better, what's that going to do to your productivity? What's going to do to your focus? What's that going to do to your bravery? What's that going to do to you the quality of your work? What's that going to do for you being a great human being out in the world? Your life is going to start to shift dramatically.
Wow. Now, a lot of people have heard the message of gratitude before, but I bet the way Robin Sharma does it is taking it to a whole different level. What is your personal gratitude practice like?
Well, it's exactly what I'm suggesting. Like, what has saved my life and what has built my life? One of the key things has been writing in a journal. I mean, almost every day when I'm going through great seasons of my life and when I've been going through very painful seasons of my life, what has really saved me and inspired me is going to my blank white pages every morning over a great cup of Colombian coffee while my family is asleep and the rest of the world is in bed, and writing about what I'm grateful for.
So do you write it as a list? Do you write it as a paragraph?
That's a great question. Sometimes I do lists, like I call it, my top 10 blessings. Sometimes I call it my 25 I ams. I am grateful. I am healthy. I am productive. I am seeing the positive in other people. I am building a better business. I am impact. My 25 I ams. Sometimes it's just free flowing, like if I'm going through a hard time of my life and I'm hurting, I pour my pain out onto the written page, and then I write about the good things, and that gives me that key word, which is perspective. Wow. There's that Persian proverb, I cursed the fact I had no shoes until I saw the man who had no feet. Now, this might seem like a simple practice, deliberate gratitude done daily in a journal. But if you do it with consistency, because Vishen, consistency is the mother of mastery, over a period of about 30 days, you start to rewire and disrupt the negativity bias of the brain. And you know about neuroplasticity. Right. You actually start to create new neural pathways. So this is not a soft technique, this is a hard technique. You actually start to rewire the neural pathways of the brain, and you reprogram your subconscious. So you walk out in the world and you actually start to see possibility versus negativity. You see the best in others versus the worst in others. At work, you're happier versus discouraged. In your personal life or your spiritual life, you see the good versus focus on what's scarce.
You're right, the impact is amazing. I remember reading about a study that talked about journaling, and especially gratitude journaling. So they divided people into two groups. Now what they found is that the one group did nothing in the morning. They just continued with their regular daily practice. The second group actually did this journaling exercise. And the researchers found that after 30 days, that second group was 25% happier. Now think about that. We are often chasing happiness. We would wish to get 25% more money, 25% more love, 25% of more home space, thinking that that would make us happy. But those are hard to do. But this is something you can do immediately, and science shows it gets you 25% happy. But here's the craziest thing about this study, right? They went back to these same people 9 months later, and they found that the group that had done journaling, even if they had stopped, they were still happier. In short, the happiness lift that they got lasted 9 months into the future. And that's why this is such a powerful practice. Robin, because this is so powerful, I want to dig deeper as to how you do it. One thing I noticed you said that was really interesting is when you're feeling sad, you write that down too. Isn't that counter to gratitude? Isn't that a bad thing?
Well, I don't think so. A lot of the suffering in the world is because we suppress our feelings. I mean, I hadn't planned to go here, but I think it's very powerful. And for people who are going, well, I want to be more productive, or I want to make more money, the reason why people are not productive is all the toxic feelings they have suppressed. I don't know anyone who's really teaching, or I shouldn't say that, I just say I wish more people were teaching the emotional reasons why we're not productive, the emotional reasons why we are not more optimistic. And I guess what I'm saying is this. Every one of us, as we go through life, experiences trauma in one form or another. Every one of us, as we go through life, experiences pain. We all have suffering as we go through the seasons of life. What society says is, don't feel the feelings. If you're angry, don't feel it. If you're sad, don't feel it. If you're bitter, don't feel it. So what we do is we suppress and we repress. And then we wonder why we don't have high energy. We wonder why we don't feel happy. We wonder why we're not really productive. It's all because of those toxic feelings bottled up inside of us that no one has ever taught us how to release. You release them in a journal.
So you're saying let them out. Now, my other question to you is, and I bet the audience would want to hear this, is, do you ever go back to your journal and look at what you wrote in the past? Is there any purpose in that?
I don't spend a lot of time going backwards. I'm very much about the future. I think it's more just a daily practice. Like it's a practice. The very practice of doing it locks in the gratitude and the good things in your life. But there's another reason to journal as well, which is vague plans lead to vague goals. And most people spend more time. Most people really don't know where they're going. They're living in a very reactive way. You say to them, what are the 5 things that need to happen between now and the end of this year for this to be the year you made history? They go, good question, I don't know. You talk to someone who says, I'm looking for the ideal intimate partner. Okay, what are the 10 attributes or traits of that ideal relationship? I don't know. You look at someone who wants to build a great business, the next Apple or the next Uber or the next Amazon or the next whatever it is. Have you done, in your journal, have you calibrated with great precision the ideal vision of that high ambition? No, I haven't. And so all I'm saying is, with better awareness, you can make better choices. With better choices, you'll make better results. If you look at the billionaires, if you look at the happiest people, you look at the game changers in the world, they know exactly what they want to stand for, who they want to be, and what they want to do with incredible detail. And that's the difference between a victim and a legendary performer. The legendary performer has a practice like journaling where they have great clarity, because clarity breeds mastery. And if you don't know where you're going in life, you're leaving your gifts, your talents, the best hours of your best days to chance. And Vishen, you don't get lucky, you make lucky.
But here's my question. How does journaling create clarity? Because you're writing about what you're grateful for, but are you also writing about what you seek in life, what you desire?
So one thing you can do in the journal is the blessing list, or write gratitude. But you can do so many other things. You can write about how you're feeling. You can write about your dreams. Sometimes what I do is I will take, let's say I want to go skiing in New Zealand this year. I will do collages. Let's say you want a new apartment or a new house. Let's say you want, a certain physique. If you can take pictures of those from magazines or whatever and put them in the journal, you get a collage, and the subconscious mind is influenced dramatically by pictures. If you are reading a book, or there's a quote that you read, you can actually rip it out, glue it into the journal, and then deconstruct the quote so you understand it better.
I see what you mean. So this is really an approach that expands in so many different ways. Now that brings us to the next item. And this next item is really interesting. It's called the 5 a.m. Club. And I want to say that there are several key executives in my company, right? The top guys I work with, 3 of them are part of this 5 a.m. club. And what they do is they wake up at 5 a.m. They go to bed at 11 p.m. They wake up at 5 a.m. and they follow what Robin is about to share with you now, a disciplined approach to starting their day. And each of them does it a little bit differently, but you're about to hear the model, and you're about to hear why 3 of the top smartest people on my team insist on waking up every day at 5 a.m. Robin?
Well, the 5 a.m. Club, I've been teaching it for 20 years. Now, a lot of my students are starting to teach the 5 a.m. Club, and there's books starting to come out, and I'm happy my students are teaching it because it's so potent. See, we live in the world of dramatic distraction right now. There are a lot of people who are living their lives like a 5-alarm fire. And how many people do you know actually have the time each day to work on themselves? A lot of people don't have any time for personal mastery. They don't have time to feed their mindset. They don't have time to feed their heart set and work on their emotional life and open up gratitude and open up more love. A lot of people don't have time to feed their physical life. A lot of people don't have time anymore to feed their spiritual life. But as you grow better on your inner life, your outer life changes. Everything you do, your income never is any higher than your self-identity. How can you be a great leader with your team if you're insecure in yourself? How can you do amazing things in the world if you don't have more energy? So self-mastery, or working on your inner empire, is how you build exterior empires, but the world doesn't really teach us that anymore. So the 5 a.m. Club, it's simply this. Remembering that it takes 66 days, according to the latest science, to install a new habit.
Really?
Yes.
66 days, because that's
University,
21.
University College of London. So that's a game-changing, that's a game-changing insight for all your viewers, because a lot of times we don't stay with a new skill or a new habit for 66 days, so we don't allow the neural architecture or the emotional architecture to lock in until it becomes automatic. So the first point is really, it'll take 66 days of practicing the 5 a.m. Club before it becomes automatic. Second thing to remember, all change is hard at first, it's messy in the middle, and it's gorgeous at the end. If it's not hard at first, it's not real change. So it'll be messy for 66 days and hard for 66 days. And then what you do is you win the battle of the bed, you put mind over mattress, and you get up early. And you take 1 hour for yourself. I call it the holy hour. And this is not watching the news. It's not checking your email. It's not worrying. It's not doing. It's 1 hour feeding your inner life, which to me is a total game changer.
And what do you do in this 1 hour?
Well, that brings me to my famous 20-20-20 formula. The first 20 minutes you actually move, okay? You actually sweat. You skip, or you run on the spot, or you do yoga, or you go swimming. But in that first 20 minutes after you get up, if you sweat, you release BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which people like John Rady, a Harvard physician, have found repair damaged brain cells. By sweating in that first 20-minute pocket of the 20-20-20 formula, you release dopamine. That's the inspirational neurotransmitter. I mean, even if you have no fire in the belly, you create the pharmacy of mastery in your brain, so you get all of this fire. You feel inspired. What else do? You release serotonin. Here's the real key. You reduce cortisol by working out first thing in the morning for 20 minutes. Cortisol is the fear hormone. The reason why we don't have a lot of energy, or why we don't have maximum creativity, the reason why we're not legendary performers at work, the reason why we're not loving life, in large part is cortisol. So first 20 minutes, sweat, move, exercise. Second 20 minutes of the 20-20-20 formula. This is 5-20 to 5-40. What do? You actually think. This is where you write in the journal. This is where you do the gratitude list.
I see.
This is where you think about your values. This is where you actually could do what I call a pre-performance template for your day. See, when you write out with great intention, here's what I want to happen, here's how I want to be when my family gets up, I'm going to do a workout today. I mean, the things that get scheduled are the things that get done, but by writing it out, you create a blueprint for your ideal day. And your days are your life in miniature. And as you live this day, so you craft your life. So 20 minutes, that's when you write in a journal and you reflect and you become introspective in a world where a lot of us are so busy being busy, we don't take any time to think. 20-20-20 formula, the final pocket is all about learning. From 5:40 to 6 o'clock. Learn. You know this better than most people on the planet, Vishen, but as you know more, you can do more. In many ways, you change the game when you commit not to entertainment, but education. I mean, what changed my life were books, podcasts, conferences. So for 20 minutes before your day really starts, you listen to a podcast, or you go through a course. I mean, one of the best investments you'll ever make is learning. You review your notes, you read a book, and you take the time to learn, because if you look at the great geniuses, they were not more gifted or more talented. They just knew more about their singular skill than anyone who'd ever done their skill in the history of the world.
That's amazing. So the first 20 minutes, you focus on exercise, and I guess people can do any type of exercise they want. The second 20 minutes is journaling, gratitude, which was practices 1 and 2 that you spoke about. And the final is learning, where you could read a book, listen to a podcast, take a Mindvalley course, work on anything that helps you grow as an individual. Does the learning have to be on personal growth? Could it be a book on business, on our career?
It can be on anything.
Anything, as long as it's learning.
Absolutely. I call this, I don't want to give too much information, but I have so much to share, and obviously, I've got some tools and tactics and ideas that really have helped millions of people. live these legendary lives. So, I mean, and more than anything else, I want to serve your people. I want to give them information. So another mindset that I teach is the 2X, 3X mindset. And it's simply this: to double your income and your impact, focus on two core areas: your personal mastery and your professional capability. So that final 20 minutes could be on spirituality, or it could be on psychology, or it could be on goal setting, it could be on relationship building, or it could be on your professional life.
Right. It could be on the course that we are producing with Robin for Mindvalley, which is actually 20 minutes a day.
Right.
That's fantastic. I like that. So you said to double your productivity, double or triple your productivity, focus on personal mastery or professional, what did you say?
Capability.
Professional capability. I like that. 20 minutes a day. It is incredible how many of us stay stagnant in our careers, stay stagnant in our jobs because we fail to actually invest in how we are doing in our jobs and how we're doing in our careers. And of course, investing in yourself is one of the surest ways to help you grow within your job.
I think education and learning and investing in yourself is the game changer. If there's one, I'm no different from any of your viewers. The one thing that I did was I stayed curious. You see, a lot of people, it's very sad, but they live the same year 75 times and they call it a life. And society is, you can tell a victim because they love entertainment. You can watch an A player because they love education. You see, I work with a lot of billionaires. I do the Titan Summit every year. We've had Richard Branson. The room is full of billionaires and some of the most high-performing, yet loving people on the planet.
Yeah, people pay like 10 grand for a ticket.
That's the early registration price.
Right.
But the point really is this. When you watch the billionaires and you get to know them, and I've coached a lot of them. A lot of my clients are Nike, FedEx, Starbucks, IBM, General Electric. A lot of the NBA athletes, NFL superstars,
Wow.
football players come to my events or follow my work. Here's what they all have in common. It's not more natural talent. They're not smarter than your viewers. They are not special or cut from a different cloth. These are people that invest in their mindset, heart set, ability, knowledge base. Because all it takes is one idea on how to change the way you see the world, to change your world. All it takes is one idea on productivity that you start to apply, because an idea without execution is delusion. You've got to, this is not a magic pill, you've got to do it. But when you know more, you can do more, and the more you learn, the higher you will go.
You know what I love about what you're saying, Robin, and pay attention to this, folks. It's not hard. A lot of us feel helpless. We feel trapped as victims of life. Even I've been there at certain points in my life. But what I've always found is that if I stuck to my habits, the correct habits, you overcome that. But you constantly keep growing and getting better and better and better. And what I love about what you're saying is that it gives people hope. This isn't hard. Any of you can go and do this. Of course, you got to be disciplined. You got to stick to the 66 days. That's where it can get tricky. We have a solution for that. But it isn't hard. It's within grasp of any one of us.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's why I'm so excited by the science. Like, this is not motivation. What the science is actually saying is every single one of us can be the best in the world at something. Every single one of us can be happy. There's some science coming out that's saying your happiness level in terms of your genetics, if your mom was depressed or your father wasn't happy, that really doesn't have a lot of bearing on your happiness. What determines your happiness is what you do every day, your habits. And you're right, it's not that hard. Every master was once a beginner. Every professional was once an amateur. You see? We forget that. We look at someone who's happy or successful and we think they're different. No, they were just doing some different things, which is what I teach in the Mindvalley course. Like exactly what the best do to dial in the right heart sets, the right mindsets, to feel heroic, but then get the daily results. And it's very exciting to me to know that, after 66 days, that 5 a.m. club or the journaling or a mindset of gratitude or hyper productivity or, being more loving or being more fit, the researchers actually call that automaticity. It's a myth that you need more willpower to stay with a course or to be successful. You only need willpower for 66 days as you're installing the new habit. After 66 days, you have set up the neurobiology and the emotional architecture where you reach the point the researchers call automaticity. It becomes automatic. This is actually the secret of great performers. They spend 66 days, they install the right habit, they then don't need any more willpower because it becomes habit, it becomes automatic.
It becomes habit. So when you're working with these billionaires, with these CEOs, with these Olympians, you are teaching them a series of habits and rituals that they do over 66 days.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm teaching them the key rituals and routines that will allow people to think like a Picasso, have a heart like a Mandela or Mother Teresa, have the physical life of a professional athlete, and have the spiritual life of a titan or someone who goes out into the world and lives for a mission larger than themselves. It is not that hard. Now, I have to be very honest and I have to stand in my integrity. It's challenging at the beginning. Every habit has like three phases, okay? So the first 20 days are going to be hard, and then in the middle that's messy because you're taking down the old beliefs and the old ways of being, so it's a little messy in the middle, and it's gorgeous at the end, and anyone can do this.
Right. Now, I mentioned the three people on my team who incidentally are three of the most incredible thinkers and performers on my team, so it's no coincidence that they are the ones who are doing the 5 a.m. thing. But I know a lot of viewers are wondering, geez, do I really have to be getting up at 5 a.m.?
None of your viewers have to be doing anything. What I do is, in the course we're doing, the Mindvalley course, I'm teaching, there's probably 1,000 fresh and original ideas just in the course.
Right.
There's a whole buffet of rituals and routines, from the second wind workout to the 20-20-20 formula. I think I even mentioned the 2 massage protocol. I believe I mentioned, or I definitely mentioned, the 90-91 rule. These are proprietary techniques that I teach that do one fundamental thing. They don't just make people feel happy. They get real results for ordinary, everyday people. And no one has to do anything. That's the great thing about life. You pick and choose what feels right for you, and you apply those things.
So it's adaptive. So my wife actually asked me to ask you this question. She's like, ask Robin, for a mother who has kids, waking up at 5 a.m. is hard because we got to stick to our kids' schedule, right? Can she start this at 7 a.m.?
Absolutely. She
Perfect.
can run the... But having...
So the 5 a.m. isn't locked in. I mean, it's basically a metaphor. It's more the habits that emerge early in the morning that matters, correct?
Well, I think she's going to start her own club, which is the 7 a.m. club. So, bless her, and I hope she has a great time doing it. So she can do what she wants to do, and she can run the 20-20 formula from 7 to 8, and she's going to get some fantastic results. Having said that, there is something special about 5 a.m. Why? Because that's the time of least distraction on the planet. At 5 a.m., here's what the science says. We have the most focus, we have the most energy, and we have the most willpower. That's what the science says, first thing in the morning. As we go through life, the day, we deplete it. So what I'm saying with 5 a.m., here's the magic behind it. You take 1 hour for yourself while the rest of the world is asleep. A lot of your people are in business. People can copy your products, people can copy your branding. Your ultimate competitive advantage, because most people won't do this, is being up before the rest of the world, preparing your mind. You know what the Spartan warriors say? Sweat more in training, bleed less in war. Your competitors, or the rest of the world, is sleeping. You're preparing your mind. Okay? For gratitude. You're preparing your heart for love and positivity and celebrating people and feeling happy in your skin. You're preparing your physical life, so you're battle-proofing your physical world and hardiness against stress. And you're working on your spiritual life, so you feel that connection to something bigger than yourself. It's now 6 o'clock. You walk out in the world, you become undefeatable.
That's beautifully said. So for those of you wondering about the 66-day program, the course that we're developing with Robin, more on that in a bit. But Robin, let's go on to item number 4, which is the 60-minute student.
Right.
Tell us about that.
Do not go to sleep unless you've spent 60 minutes in learning. A lot of people say, well, I don't have that time. Join what I call Traffic University. In other words, if you're in the car driving to work, why listen to the news? The job of the news vision is to frighten you. Right. The job of the news is to release cortisol, the fear hormone in your brain, so you become addicted to the news. Here's what the research says. The research says actually people who watch the news every day see the world less realistically than people who don't watch the news. You actually
Is that so?
Yeah, because you actually train your brain to think that life is about wars, robbery, the worst of humanity, and the lowest common denominator, versus knowing the reality. Most people are great. There's a lot, we've never lived in a time of so much opportunity. So the 60-minute student is simply this. You make a commitment to be an eternal learner. Okay? And you make some time every day to listen to a podcast or go through an online course or, watch a webinar like your viewers are brilliantly doing. I mean, victims don't like learning new ideas, Vishen. It disrupts their safe harbor. What makes a victim is they don't want to hear a new idea. It's actually fear. They want to think the same thoughts, speak the same words, live the same life for 80 years and call it a lifetime. But the people who are watching right now are my heroes, because it takes a lot of bravery to say, I'm going to learn for 60 minutes every day, and I'm going to feel the discomfort of growth. But my commitment to growth and becoming the best human being I could be is so much more important than the fear or the discomfort that I feel. And that's what makes a hero, actually.
That's beautifully said. One of the biggest things I did in my life that really moved the dial, I spend about an hour every day in traffic, right? Half an hour to get to work, half an hour to come back. And recently I moved to an apartment that was even further away from my office. And for the first few months I was feeling so miserable because I used to have a 7-minute drive. Mm-hmm. Now I had a half-hour drive. But then I stumbled upon this idea. Turn it into the University of Traffic, or Traffic University, as you said. And I started listening to podcasts. I started listening to our own Mindvalley courses. And I'm so glad now that I live further away from my office, because I get to spend an hour every single day growing myself. And I really want to encourage you guys to look into this. This is so powerful, folks. And again, it's within reach of any one of us.
Traffic University. You're in a car, that's an opportunity to learn. Have you heard about running college? Running college. Right. Definitely I want your viewers to join running college. Running college is you go running, listen to an audiobook, listen to a course. Have you heard about School of Walking?
I have heard about School
When
of
you are walking, why daydream? When you're walking, listen to a course. Like everywhere you go grocery shopping, why not reverse your thinking by listening to a course while you're grocery shopping? Anything that you're doing, you can be learning.
You're right. I still have my hardcore rap playlist when I'm working out or running.
Right.
But in the car, in traffic, when everything is just gentle and smooth and quiet and I can focus, that's when I love listening to courses and podcasts.
Yeah,
phenomenal tip.
Well, I think the key is really this. Learning collapses the timeline. You can try to figure out how to build a great business or a world-class life, or dial in the mindset of the people I work with, the Titans, or how to live a life that makes history while you create a life you adore. You can try to figure it out on your own, and it'll probably take you 50 years or 100 years, even if you ever get there. Or you can learn from people who've already done it and get the information in an hour or 20 minutes, or the right book or the right course or the right audiobook. You can collapse the timeline so that every single day becomes a platform to get exponentially closer to the life you've always wanted to live.
What you're saying is so relevant to our community. This is the core and the DNA of the Mindvalley community. For those of you who are new to Mindvalley, know this. Most people who are part of our community, which is now like 2 million strong, they see growth as a goal. Most regular people, ordinary people, they think of their goals as the amount of money in their bank account, or their title, or their job, or how high up the career ladder. Not Mindvalley people. If you're here, you probably get what I'm talking about. They see growth as a goal. So every single day, if they are growing, they know that they have a right to celebrate, that they are getting closer to who they are meant to be. Their battle is often with their own levels of internal greatness. They constantly want to express the greatest version of themselves. So if this resonates with you, growth as a goal, you're in the right place. And I'm so glad that we have you, Robin, here to remind us of just how powerful and crucial this idea is to our lifestyle.
Well, let's strip away all the seductions of society. And if you don't mind, I want to get a little philosophical, but I want to speak some deep truth here. And I believe the number one purpose of life, it's not having the Ferrari or the watch or the title or the big house or people thinking you're beautiful or cool or whatever. I think at the end of our lives, when we get to the last hour of our last day, it will just come down to one thing. Who did we become? I mean, did we make the investments required to awaken the hero that lives within every single one of the people that's watching? Did we learn how to turn pain into power? Did we learn how to take our fears and make them into faith? Did we use the potential that we were born into to live it? Not so we just did great things for our loved ones and for our lifestyle, but made the world a better place. The number one purpose of life, when you strip away the hypnosis of our culture and the media, the number one purpose of life, it's to grow. It's to become who we are destined and built to be for the benefit of our joy, but also to make the world a place of more love, more light, more heroism, more creativity, more productivity. That is the responsibility, not just the opportunity, that's the responsibility of every single person who's watching right now. To turn down the ego pursuits and to get seriously in the game and say, life is short. I better do something right now to start owning my genius, to start stripping away my fears. And just because the world doesn't live, the world is interested in, what people are eating for breakfast and dancing cats on the social media. And I think your people are a lot like me and you,
Right.
There's a whole different game to play. And it's not what the 95% are doing. The game or the key to life, it's growth. It's building your interior. It's going out in the world and becoming your genius and doing something epic with your life. And you know what? Don't do it tomorrow. Don't postpone it because no one knows what tomorrow is going to bring. Do it today.
I love that, man, because even though I intuitively know this stuff, it so helps to have you as a coach reminding me how important this is. This is beautiful. Now let's go on to the fifth item, which is what you call the 90-90-1.
So a lot of people get to work. So you look at, there's a brain tattoo that I teach, and it's to have the results only 5% of the world has. You've got to be willing to think, behave, and live like only 5% of the world is willing to do. And so you look at most people, and it's no judgment, I'm just reporting, but they get to work and they check their email. Or they get to work and they chit-chat at the water cooler. Or they get to work and they surf the internet. But when you get to work, it's showtime. And again, the science does show that in the morning is when we have the most, I call them the trinity of peak performance assets. Your mental focus, your physical energy, and your willpower. You've got to protect those three resources, those assets. But most people get to work and they don't protect them. They deplete them, and then they wonder why they're not doing great work like Picasso or Rembrandt, and they wonder why they're not living great lives with great prosperity and great success. What I'm suggesting is this. When you get to the work, you spend the first 90 minutes of your workday for the next 90 days focusing on your single biggest opportunity to own your industry and to influence humanity. You see, the secret of genius is simplicity. They didn't try to do 50 things. The secret of genius is they found one thing they could be great at, and they spent the best hours of their days focusing on one of those things. So this protocol, this ritual, the 90-90-1 rule, for the next 90 days, the first 90 minutes of your workday, turn off your phone, block out distractions, and focus monomaniacally on the one project that if you nail it at Michelangelo level or Kanye level or Jay-Z level or Messi level, you literally create a masterpiece, because in many ways, what you send out to the world is what comes back to you. Don't release mediocrity. Release your poetry to the world, and the world will beat a path to your door.
I like that.
So let me just recap it. The 90-90-1 rule. You spend the first 90 minutes of your workday for the next 90 days focused on your one biggest opportunity to own your craft, to influence, to birth something beautiful out into the world.
Now, what about people who are, because many of the people who work at our company, for example, within the first hour of their workday, we have our scrum. So the entire team comes together to scrum. This, of course, would interrupt their 90-91 model. What would you do in that scenario?
I would actually do scrum afterwards.
Push the scrum back,
I
or
really
show
would.
up to work earlier?
Or show up to work earlier. I
like
mean,
that.
you know, but the point is really this: an addiction to distraction is the death of your creative production. And if you look at people out in the world right now, so few people are monomaniacally focused on doing world-class work. Even very few people are fully present with each other right now. So this 90-91 rule, it's really a daily ritual which allows people to rebuild focus into their lives. Because again, genius is all about focus. The thing about genius is they all had this ability to lock themselves away from the world and focus on their scientific formula or the work, the art they were doing without distraction. We don't do that anymore. You get that right, the 90-91 rule, game changer.
You're right. You're absolutely right there. This has even made me rethink how I structure my company and our meetings. God damn it, you're good.
And even just a bonus point for your amazing viewers, but I call it the tight bubble of total focus. You see, you can be distracted or you can be legendary. You don't get to do both. And that's why you want to build a bubble around you so that you don't let distraction in. You don't let noise in. You don't let too much news in. Here's another key thing. You don't want to let the energy vampires in. You know, you can't live a world-class life if you're surrounded by toxic people.
Right.
So, you know, you want to surround yourself with the right people. And, you know, that's one of the things I love about the Mindvalley tribe concept, which is, you know, I really believe if you're the smartest person you know, it's time to know new people. If you're the most successful person on your street, maybe it's time to move to a new street. And if you're the fastest person in your neighborhood, it's time to move to a new neighborhood. So you do become your environment.
Got to get that quote on a t-shirt. Beautiful. So thank you, everyone. I hope these 5 ideas phenomenally make an impact in your life. You could see how excited I was getting in this masterclass. Robin is the kind of guy that he lights a fire under you to get off the sofa and do more. And I almost want to bolt out of this room right now. Just a second, guys. I know this is weird. I just jumped into my own masterclass, but I wanted to update you on a really cool innovation that we just released on Mindvalley, and it happened since I recorded that past episode. So what we find is that so many of our top students love the programs that they enroll in, that they enroll in a second program, and a third program, and a fourth program. Because the fact is, once you get on the Mindvalley quest, you get so hooked. What we are really good at is making learning as exciting as a computer game. When you wake up every day and you're spending your 10 to 20 minutes with your designated trainer and you feel your life shift, it creates such a remarkable feeling. But what happens when you finish that program? Well, people come back to Mindvalley and they enroll in the second and the third program, that can get expensive. So we launched something called Mindvalley All Access. And what this means is that you get access to everything for less than $2 a day. So what does this look like? Well, firstly, you now have access to the top teachers and trainers in the world. And every new teacher coming onto Mindvalley is automatically added to your account. You take a fun self-assessment, which will help you view your life from a holistic perspective and know what to focus on. You then choose your adventure, the program that you want to take. And it's only 5 to 20 minutes a day because our teachers are so effective. Every day, you are developing new skills, new attitudes, new mindsets, new beliefs. And at the end of each month, you've up-leveled. Maybe you're now reading 3 times as fast, or your health is completely transformed, or you've improved your spiritual abilities for energy healing or manifesting. So many people forget that the number one thing that we need to do in life to achieve all our wildest dreams, to have career success, to give back to our family and the world, is to focus on becoming the best you can be. And this means investing in your personal growth. Think about what that will do for your life and the lives of everyone you touch. Scroll down below and enroll in Mindvalley All Access. All our programs are going to be open and available to you, so you get to choose your own adventure. So one of the reasons we chose to work with Robin is because he's a phenomenal teacher. And as you can see, he knows his stuff and he inspires people, even performers like me, to go beyond what we regularly do, which is why I'm really excited about the newest program that we're bringing to Mindvalley Academy with Robin. And for this particular program, we even re-examine how learning works, and we built a whole new model called the Quest. It's a whole new model designed to create rapid behavioral change in people over X number of days. Now, as Robin said, 66 days is what it takes. So you've learned about journaling, about gratitude, about the 5 a.m. club, about the 60-minute student. You've learned about the 90-91 formula. But how do you now bring this all into your life? And remember, these are only a few of the methodologies and tools that Robin, in his infinite wisdom and all his work, has brought out to the world. He coaches people way beyond that. So if you've ever wondered, how could you build a life where you can get up every day and think like a hero, where you can perform like a genius, where you can live life like a legend? This man's got the answer. Now, here are the questions that you still want to ask yourself. How do you deal with procrastination? How do you turn off your self-sabotaging beliefs? How do you set goals that actually move every cell of your being? How do you respond to unexpected life circumstances that come up between you and your plans? We're going to be covering all of that and so much more in this new program with Robin Sharma. So let me tell you what we've created. As Robin mentioned, 66 days is the magic number. Science shows that it takes 66 days to install a habit. Now in this program, just like Robin coaches Olympians and billionaires, he's going to be coaching you and me. Everything I built in Mindvalley right now is because I want to learn this stuff. I'm building this new course with Robin because I need this in my life, and I know you will too. And remember, people pay this man 10 grand to attend his seminars. This, we've made it affordable to everybody who's willing to go beyond just living ordinary. Now what happens is when you enroll in this program, we're going to get thousands of people enrolling, and all of us are going to start together on the same day. This is why we call this program a Mindvalley Quest. We're basically getting ourselves on a quest to live our lives like a hero, to think and perform like a genius, and to build a life that's legendary. And we all start on day one. And for 66 days from day one, Robin Sharma is going to be guiding you through specific rituals and practices every single day. Now we've designed this to come with an accompanying app so you can follow Robin's instructions in the car, on the go. You can even download it, listen to it if you are a frequent flyer on an airplane, and it's 20 minutes a day. 20 minutes a day is all it takes. But in 66 days, as you start learning and applying this in your life, the applications may take a little bit more than 20 minutes, but you will see changes happen. And because we're all about community here at Mindvalley, and we know that having a supportive community when you go through a quest like this really matters, there's a built-in community. All 1,000 of us plus are going to be connected in an online community, so we'll be sharing our accomplishments, sharing our progress. And what we've found, Robin, and this is why I so love this model, is that when we structure our programs like this, our completion rate can be up to 300% higher. Because I know you guys, you often buy personal growth programs, don't get through them. This is designed to get you to complete it and shift your life permanently in those 66 days. Okay, but first, let's recap. I want you to make a commitment right now on any of the 5 things Robin said. Maybe it was gratitude and journaling that appealed to you. Well, make a commitment to start it tomorrow. Don't wait. Don't say, oh, I'll start on Sunday, or I'll start on the start of the next month. Start it tomorrow. Make that commitment because you're showing yourself that you're committing to doing something. And that is one of the first aspects of change. So the first thing we spoke about is gratitude and journaling. We then spoke about the 5 a.m. club. Remember, you do not have to get up at 5 a.m. We know we all live different lives. I now implement that, but I choose to wake up at 7 a.m. again because of kids. Then the 60-minute student, another really key idea that I've put into my life, and you can easily do this. If you have a Mindvalley course, make a commitment to start learning these programs on your way to work. And if you take part in this quest, know that the accompanying app, which works on Android and iPhone, makes it super easy to play Robin's instructions and guidance and coaching in your car as you're driving. And finally, 90-91. You may have to talk to your boss about it to figure out how to adjust your schedule, but remember, it's also your choice to wake up earlier and start your job earlier. Now, with that as a recap, let's take this further. I want to invite you to look below this webinar video and you'll see all information on our newest program at Robin Sharma. And I want to encourage you to dive into this program and to enroll so you can be one of the 1,000+ students who are going to be coached by Robin. Now you'll notice a couple of interesting things when you look below. You'll see a rough outline of what we're going to cover. We'll talk a bit about that in a moment. But you'll also notice that as a thank you for investing in your growth, for staying with us for this past hour and learning, we've given you a further unlock price discount. You will only get it on this page. So if you're interested in this program, do not close this window. Keep this window up because the unlock price is only on this window as a thank you for completing this webinar. If you've stayed with us this far, I know something about you. You are ready to put some of these into your life. You're wondering, why didn't I learn this in school? And you're ready to step beyond the masses of people who choose to live an ordinary life. And you're ready to invest in those little bits of discipline, of habits that can get you to the next level. And we're inviting you to train from one of the grand maestros of this art form.
Thank you.
The one and only Robin Sharma. Robin, is there anything you'd like to add?
No, I just, it's been a great session with you, Vishen, and I just like to remind all the people who've watched, thank you for the blessing of the time that you've watched this, and I'd also like to remind them about the shortness of life. No matter how long we all get to live, life is a really, really short ride, and before we know it, we all end up as dust, and I don't think our lives are defined by the cars we had or the material possessions that were, in our driveway or in our apartments. I think it really does come to growth, and I think in many ways it comes down to personal mastery. And I think there's 4 key areas that this course really will create revolutions for the people who invest in it. Number 1, mindset. It really will help them think like a hero and bulletproof their mindset so they're not only happier, but they believe in their dreams, because dream big, start small, begin today. Mindset. Number 2, this term I've been teaching, heart set. It will help them become happier. It will help them turn from being fearful to fearless. It'll help them become more loving. It'll help them become more peaceful. You can't put a price tag on being peaceful. Number 3, the course is really going to help them install the rituals so their physical life begins to soar. So they experience exponential longevity. So they have more energy, because in our world, energy is even more important than intelligence right now. And then finally, this course is very much going to help them with their spirituality. Now, I talk about being successful like a legend, but I blend it with soulfulness. This course will really help them experience life as magic. It'll help them live for a cause that's larger than themselves. Even if they're going through a painful time, it will help them see the good in the pain, because the things that break our hearts are ultimately the things that open our hearts. So really, it's a course that will help all the key areas of your life come together and create these outer empires of success by dialing in the interior empires every single one of us has. And the final thing I'll say is simply this: there are no extra people on the planet right now. Every single person does have a hero and a genius and a titan and a Mandela or a Mother Teresa. We all have this greatness within us, even if people have lost that connection with it. And this course will really help you get your childhood dreams back. It will really help you remember who you are truly meant to be and your authenticity, so that for the rest of your life, you don't play small anymore. This course really is the antidote to average, and will help people live the rest of their life bringing on their best, not only so they live a great life in their own unique way, but also so they do make history in their original way and make the world a better place, which right now our world needs more heroes.
An antidote to average. You're absolutely right. In this time in our world, heroes, people who can craft their lives to be legendary, who can perform at their top levels at work and in their craft, are so needed. And I want to just put this out there. Many of you who are watching this are already extremely disciplined, and you likely have your exercise practice, your meditation practice. There's a reason I'm doing this course. It's because no matter how good you are, you can always get better and better and better. And if you're good, this just multiplies you even more. And I found that every time I invest in a disciplined approach like this, it is one of the greatest investments I ever make. If you've been stagnating at your job for a certain level right now and waiting for that next promotion, waiting for that next raise, think about how this is going to make you show up at work, how this is going to make you perform at work. Think about what that means to your your climb up the career ladder, or you building an even bigger version of your company or your mission. This gets you to perform like some of the greatest performers in the world today. And as you know, we're not born with it. We build it up through a series of good habits and discipline. And we're designed to make this work, and this course is designed to make it work for you. So I want to talk about the science that we put into the curriculum. You've heard about Robin's brilliance. In this new model by Mindvalley, we've noticed a couple of things that really lead to dramatic results in people who work on programs designed as quests. The first principle is micro-learning. What this means is, rather than take a course and have to go through 8 to 15 hours of audios in your own time, you're going to be asked to invest no more than 20 minutes every day for 66 days, going through the learnings. Now, as you put things in practice, you may be spending a little bit more time journaling, gratitude, and stuff like that, but the learning aspect is just 20 minutes a day. So you can do this on the go in your commute. And because of this, people do not drop off as much. People stick to it. Now, the second element that we put into it that we found really helps the growth model is community. The course comes with a built-in tribe, a built-in community. We want you to share pictures, maybe film a video of how you're doing or a great insight, share it. We found that our students sometimes become co-teachers and help inspire and motivate other students. Now, the third thing we found is the very idea of the disciplined approach over 66 days, because as Robin says, that builds up a habit. And the final element of this, and this is something I really love, the final element is the app keeps you reminded to do the exercises through notifications and messages that you can set yourself, whatever time you want to be reminded to apply the practice to your life. And because of this, we are seeing, Robin, it's incredible, 200 to 300% better completion rates in Quest than other courses out in the industry.
Beautiful.
So we're combining a great teacher with powerful ideas, with phenomenal technology, and a phenomenal community of you guys to create change in our world. And I'm so excited that you're going to be part of this. So again, below this video, we've laid out all the information for you. And know that we do this because it's so a key part of our mission to help awaken humanity to living the most extraordinary versions of the lives that you've been blessed to live. And this is just something that gives us meaning, and it's why we are put here on earth. And I can think of few teachers who can help you get there as Robin Sharma. So thank you so much for joining us. And we want to wrap up by just having Robin answer a few common questions. So if you're ready to enroll, all the information is below. If you think any of these questions might help you, stay tuned, because Robin's going to answer some important questions that we get from prospective customers and students. Now, the first question, Robin, is how fast do you actually see results?
Well, I mean, you're going to see results very quickly. Even on the day that people start the course with me, they're going to start seeing results. I mean, you learn a new idea or you learn a new ritual, that has a very, I don't want to be someone who's magic pill, but the reality is, if you learn the 20-20-20 formula, and I should say, this course is so much more than the 5 rituals we talked about, just so everyone knows. I mean, they're literally going to get my advanced ideas on rewiring your mindset, how to create exponential productivity, how to do world-class work. It's going to help dramatically in your personal life. I mean, the 5 rituals are part of it, and then there's the mindsets, there's the tools, there's all the strategies, there's all these frameworks and mental models, and I'm really excited for people to go through it. But when you learn a new idea, I mean, Oliver Wendell Holmes said it really well. He said a mind exposed to a new idea never returns to its original dimensions, or, you know, that's a paraphrase on it. But that's actually what science is showing us, that when you learn a new idea, the brain that you had before you were exposed to the new ideas is incrementally, but it's a different brain. When you take a new step towards a new habit, you've laid down a piece of neural pathway. Your brain is different. As your brain starts to change, your behavior starts to change. As you start doing even one new move, you release cortisol, which is the fear hormone I mentioned. You increase serotonin. You increase dopamine. So as you start to do these things, like small, tiny moves every day, you get small, tiny improvements. But here's the real key. Small daily improvements, when done consistently over time, lead to staggering results. That's how you create momentum. So it's little improvements every day. They're easy, they're fun, they're effective, but they start to create a massive amount of momentum. So you get to 40 days, 50 days, 60 days, 66 days, and you're on fire. And you've really re-scripted your mindset, your heart set, your physical life, and your spiritual life. So you see results very quickly, but they're incremental, but incremental improvements over time lead to revolutions.
Robin, how can one be so sure that this is going to work for them?
Well, it's not like I read a book or 10 books or even 100 books and I'm giving this course. This has been my devotion over the past 2 decades of my life. I bring a lot of rigor to what I teach. I used to be a litigation lawyer. It's very science-based. I've worked with a lot of the Fortune 500 for 20 years, Starbucks, Nike, FedEx, IBM, General Electric, Microsoft. I've coached CEOs. So what I'm suggesting is what I teach in this course has actually taken me 20 years to put together. And this is not just an ordinary course. This is really a handcrafted course with very original, very potent science meets art. It's spirit meets elite performance. This is a very revolutionary course that is taking what took me 20 years to put together into a single course that's really fun to use, but actually creates real results for people.
I know. I've seen you plan this. I've seen my team work with you. This is just genius.
Well, I think, we live in a world where there's a lot of superficiality. I believe in going deep and creating rigor. And the course has a lot of rigor and thought to it, a lot of structure to it, and a lot of very powerful insights and methodologies to it. And I'm really excited, Vishen, to work with you to unleash this course on the world, because I know there's a huge opening in the world right now for people who want to be great in the world, but they also want to be great within their lives. 20 years ago, I don't think we could have done this course, even 10 years ago, but there's a huge appetite right now for people who say, you know what, I want to be successful, but I want to be a hero of my own life. I want to make more money or be healthier, but I want to know my authenticity and live with more integrity. I want to own my craft, but I also want to do my part to lift the world. That's what this course is about as well. And I haven't seen a course quite like it, and I'm really excited that we're going to bring it to your people and we're going to bring it to the world, because ultimately we're working together to make the world a better place.
Right, and when you combine it with the community and the technology and your teaching style, it is truly a unique program. And we've made it so affordable to everyone, because we really want to get this out to the masses, because the world needs more people living legendary lives and performing like freaking ninjas.
Yeah, this is the ninja course. This is like the super ninja, exponential beyond ninja.
Are you making fun of my
I know, but
language?
it really is. It's the best information that I've put together, put into, deconstructed and manufactured into this gorgeous course that's really going to help people. And, people do invest very large tuition fees to learn a lot of what I'm teaching in this course. So I'm excited that you're offering it.
Tell us about the time necessary for this course. We know the lessons are less than 20 minutes a day, and some days it's about 5 or 10 minutes for the lessons that you will be taking on your desktop or your smartphone. But in terms of the practice, how much time would that involve?
Well, I think you're right, about 20 minutes a day, plus you go through the day and you practice it, because, the more you practice something, the better you're going to get at it. But spending 20 minutes on dialing in your mindset and becoming stronger and, learning what I teach saves time. That's the way to look at it. Was it what Abe Lincoln, he said, if I had to sharpen an axe, or if I had to cut down a tree, I'd spend, more time sharpening the saw.
Right.
And that's really what this is. It's like, as you become better, then everything you touch gets lifted by who you become.
Right, and I found this just from experience. The reason I invest hours every day in my personal growth is because I found that I can then go to work, and in a 7 or 8 hour days, I don't overwork myself. In a 7 or 8 hour days, I can do what many people do in one entire week. But that's because I've disciplined myself and my mind to a degree, and you will likely find that same thing. Maybe some of you are working 70-hour weeks, 10 hours a day, and you're miserable because it's a lot of work. What you will find is that you got to get yourself out of that trap. And the discipline of honing your mind, honing your body, honing your practices, as Robin is talking about, will let you do more and still hit your goals and still build that epic company and still get that promotion in far less time, because you are a more optimal machine. You are not a racehorse, you're a Lamborghini.
Well, one of the mindsets that I teach in the course is icons aren't busy.
Right.
And I help people install that mindset so it's not just an idea, it becomes a way of being. But the point really is on icons aren't busy. The victim is busy being busy, but it's not about how many hours you work, it's about the quality and excellence you bring to your hours. And I have another concept, which is, 5 great hours. If you could get 5 brilliant hours into your day, you get more done than most people get done in a month.
Right.
So when you install the right mindsets and ways of being and productivity practices, and you release toxicity and you do all the things that I teach in the course, you become so monomaniacally focused, you actually work less and find more freedom. And that's another benefit of the course. This is actually about personal freedom too. I mean, unchaining your brain and unchaining your fears, but also unchaining the victimhood in your life.
In short, this course will give you, there's no exaggeration in saying this, but this course will add hundreds of extra hours to your year, because you can do so much more in so less time and feel better about it and be operating from passion, from heart, from mind, because it dials up how much you can do in a given hour. And I love what you said, icons are not busy. I've noticed that about a lot of the most successful men I work with. These are guys who run billion-dollar companies. They are not busy, but you know what they do? Many of them spend 1 to 2 hours every morning on their meditation, on their working out, on their nutrition, on the habits and the practices that you talk about over here.
Yeah, the women and the men who run billion-dollar companies or do epic art or change the world, those people are not working day and night. I had lunch with a billionaire a little while ago, and he said to me, Robin, I made the most money that I made when I was spending 3 hours every morning on personal development. It's so counterintuitive.
It is.
Most people go, I don't have enough time to work on myself. But
It's
by
the
working,
dumbest excuse.
he's working 3 hours a day on his mindset, heart set, emotional life, and physical life.
Right.
He said that's when I was most effective.
So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for joining us, and I cannot wait to see you in this program. Robin, you've been absolutely phenomenal.
You're
Thank
awesome.
you so much for coming
Thank
in,
you, Vishen.
inspiring me and
Thank you.
everybody else. So right below this video, everything you need is here for you. Check it out, click enroll, and you'll be joining our first batch of students. Now the program starts on a specific date, and when we start, we are all going into this together. I'm going to be in the program with you, as is Robin, as is several hundred people from our Mindvalley team from all around the world, because we're so excited about this program. So you must enroll before the start date, because we begin on a specific date together. The program then closes and we'll open it up, again, maybe in a year, maybe in 6 months, we don't know. We'll see how this batch goes. So thank you so much for joining us and for being part of this. And I can't wait to see you in our community and to get you on this incredible quest.
Robin comes from the heart. He's coming from a really centered place.
My God, Robin has brought his A game to the table.
A day with Robin is a very special opportunity to really challenge your thinking around your potential.
And now I have the tools to do it.
He has given us some incredible frameworks and models. Frameworks and models that are absolutely life-changing.
It just doesn't feel like he's about the money and delivering as much content as he can out to the world to, just grow his business. He really wants to grow people.
I would never think that this could be that powerful.
Robin, keep up the great work.
Robin, you are the only man in this entire industry who combines success and high performance with spirituality and soul.
Robin, keep doing what you're doing. You're upping your game every time. You're inspiring us to do the same.
You saw me through the darkest days of my corporate career, and I'll be eternally grateful.
You bring it every day, and we're all inspired and really charged with what you provide to your audience.
The work that you put into it, the depths that you go to create your content, the depths that you go to give us the very, very best.
Thanks for being you. Thanks for sharing all this with us.
Thank you so much for everything you've done for me. You've really helped me improve my life.
Thank you for the positive influence in my life and in everyone else's.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robin.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Keep it up, my brother, and bring that message to the wider world.
You've changed my life.